Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tioncrochet.com and yarncraftsandcoffee.com. Today we're going to be making a really cute textured ear warmer worked in your favorite worsted weight yarn. I'll be providing instructions for toddler, child, and adult sizes. This ear warmer is from my Little Pebbles series, which features this really cool textured pattern here that is just alternating single crochets and treble crochets. It's a modified even berry stitch if you're familiar with that stitch pattern. I find that one, the little pebbles, that's what I call these, they don't hold their shape that well, and sometimes the textured part flattens out. So I've modified it in this way, and the stitches hold their texture really well. It's not too bulky, but it's nice and cozy, and I just love the fabric that it creates. These two are my worsted weight versions. I am working on another one with a cinch center, but I don't have it ready yet, so make sure to pop down into the description box below to check on that. But as soon as it's ready, I will pop the link to it down in the description box below. I have my twisted ear warmer here on the left and the regular tube here on the right. For today's tutorial, we're going to be making the tube one here, which starts as a basic rectangle that we then whip stitch the ends together here, and we get a simple tube shape. These ear warmers are part of my 2024 mystery ear warmer crochet along that I'm hosting on my blog. You're going to find the links to everything down in the description box below, including the materials that I'm using today. You're going to need a worsted weight number 4 yarn. You can use your favorite worsted weight yarn. The only thing I'm not going to recommend is 100% cotton because it doesn't have any secondary fiber in it to help it bounce back and retain its shape. This one here on the right is Lion Brand Wool Ease, which is one of my absolute favorite cozy yarns. It is a wool blend. And the one on the left is Araucania Hawasco Kettle Dyed Yarn. This one is a very natural color. The other kettle dyed yarns are absolutely beautiful, but I really wanted a color that was lighter so that it would really show the textured stitch pattern really well. These are both wool blends, so they do include wool. Acrylic yarns do work for this. Another great animal fiber, if you're allergic to wool, is alpaca. Keep in mind that an animal fiber is going to keep you warmer than an acrylic yarn. Animal fibers are going to help protect you against the wind, whereas an acrylic yarn, the wind is most likely going to go through it. So just something to keep in mind as you're picking your yarn, trying to kind of think of where you're going to be using it. If it's just a cool day or a cold day and I'm out running errands, then I could easily pick either fiber. If I'm going to take this on a trolley ride or on a boat ride, or if I'm going to go somewhere where it's really windy, I'm going to opt for something that has wool in it. Gauge is not terribly essential for this project. You do need a soft tape measure so that you can measure the length to ensure that your finished rectangle will fit your head size. But as far as width goes, after about 4 to 6 rows, you can measure the width of your fabric, and that's going to be the finished height of the ear warmer. So after you work these initial rows up and you measure, if you'd like it to be a thinner band, you can easily take some stitches out. If you'd like it to be a thicker band, you can always add some stitches in. Then you work up the full length of the rectangle, which is going to be 2 to 2.5 inches smaller than your head size. So very easy to measure as you go, make sure you get the right size. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a slip knot, so I've pulled the yarn over my fingers here, wrap it around my index finger 2 times, hold the tension with my thumb and my middle finger, then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll go to the one on the left now, pull it up over the other one and off my finger. Grab my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. Then I'll hold the working yarn in my right hand and the short tail end in my left. I'm going to pull that so this knot will go to normal tension. We're going to start with a chain. To chain, we yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. Each time we do that, we get one of these V shapes here. We don't count the loop on our hook. We have 1, 2, 3 chains. Now I'm going to put up a chart that's going to show how many chains you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. The number of stitches that you're going to have is going to be equal to one less than the number of chains that you have. So if you have a chain 12, you're going to have 11 stitches. If you decide to adjust this at all, you're going to want to make sure that you start with an even number of chains so that you get an odd number of stitches. Once we have all our chains complete, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So again, we don't count the loop that's on our hook. There's our first chain and our second chain. Right in the center of that second chain, that's where we're going to work a single crochet. So I'll insert my hook in the center of it, yarn over, and pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. And that completes our single crochet. Now we're going to treble crochet into the next stitch. That's also called a triple crochet. Yarn over 2 times, so there are 3 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the center of the chain, yarn over and pull through. There are now 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That completes our treble crochet, and to get it to the same height as that single crochet and have it pop out to create that texture, we single crochet into the stitch after it. So insert your hook right into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. I'll pull up a loop here really quick, and now that treble crochet is going to pop out here and it's going to create that little bobble that we have on the front. It's a little bit hard to see now because we just have that one, but as you keep building and adding the rows, the texture is really going to come together. So throughout the whole entire pattern, when you're working this row, you're going to be working a single crochet followed by a treble crochet, and then repeat single crochet, treble crochet, all the way until you get to the end, and you always finish with a single crochet. So right now we have single crochet, treble crochet, single crochet. We're going to work a treble crochet in that next chain, yarn over 2 times, insert your hook right in the center of that chain, yarn over and pull through, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Single crochet into the next chain, insert right into the center, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops, treble crochet into the next stitch, yarn over 2 times, there are 3 loops on your hook, insert right into the center of the chain, yarn over and pull through, 4 loops now, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Before I continue, as I move up, I do like to hold on to the part of the stitch I just finished so that it doesn't pull up on the initial loop from my hook. So I just finished the yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now I'm going to move my fingers from the bottom chain up to the first part there. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Hold on to the fabric here in my right hand so I can move my left hand up a little bit more, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. That way these loops are even in size. Otherwise this initial loop will just start to get larger and then it'll make your fabric look messy. So if this stitch starts to pull out of shape, then I recommend pulling out your fabric and reworking the stitch. So if that loop was way too long, then I would just pull my hook out, pull out on that last stitch, and then reinsert my hook into the loop and rework that treble crochet again. Then we single crochet into the next stitch, and that's what brings it down so that it's even with the single crochets. Continue working in pattern all the way to the end. In that very last stitch, end with a single crochet. Now that I've reached the end of my row, if you'd like to count your stitches, you look to the V shapes here that are on the back side. That's going to be the easiest side to see them from. Right here at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. The treble crochet V shapes are going to be a little bit bigger than the single crochet ones next to it. To start the next row, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're looking at the front textured side. Each time we work from this side of the fabric, we're just going to single crochet all the way across. Insert your hook into the very first stitch there, picking up both loops of that single crochet. Yarn over and pull through. 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through to complete that single crochet. Then you insert into the next stitch, which is a treble crochet, and the stitch sort of falls to the back. So it's right here at the top, rotating a little bit to the back so that I can see the V shape and pick up both loops, and then complete a single crochet. Single crochet into the next stitch, which is really easy to see there. And then single crochet into the next treble crochet, rotate it just a little bit so that you can see where to insert your hook to pick up both loops of that V shape. Single crochet into the next single crochet, and then single crochet into the next treble crochet. Go to the top of it, rotate a little bit, and then you'll see where to insert your hook to pick up those 2 loops. And you just continue all the way across the row, single crocheting into each stitch. So you're going to have the same number of stitches in this row as you did in row 1. They're just going to be all single crochets. And after we work into that very last single crochet, we've completed our row. Now we're going to go back and work another textured row. Chain 1 and turn. Each time you're looking at the flat side, that means we're working from the back and we're going to be working the textured row. So we're going to start with a single crochet into this very first stitch. Then we're going to work a treble crochet into the next stitch. Now you see that my stitch has pulled out kind of long there. I don't like that, so I'm going to rework that one. Pull it a little bit tighter. Single crochet into the next stitch. Treble crochet into the next stitch. Single crochet into the next stitch, treble crochet into the next stitch. Continue in pattern all the way across, single crochet into the next stitch, treble crochet into the next stitch. When you get to the end of the row, you will end with a single crochet in that very last stitch. Once we have all our stitches complete here, we're ready to chain 1 and turn. And now we're looking at the textured side, so that means we're going to be working a row of single crochet. Single crochet into the first stitch, and then single crochet into each stitch all the way across, the same way as we did before, ending with a single crochet in the last single crochet. And this is how our repeat is going to continue. So after we single crochet all the way across, we'll chain 1 and turn, and we'll be looking at the flat side or the back side, which means that we know we're going to work a textured row after that, which is single crochet in the first stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch, all the way across, working a single crochet in the very last stitch. Then you'll chain 1 and turn, and you'll be on the textured side again, which means that you are single crocheting into each stitch all the way across. Now I've completed 6 rows here. Down here at the bottom, the textured row, that is row 1. And above that, we can see another textured row. We know that that is worked from the same side, so that is row 3. And then there's a small row here in the middle, that is row 2, where we just worked those single crochets. The easiest way to count your rows is going to be looking for the textured rows, so then you can count 1, 3, 5, 7, and so on. After about 6 rows, you can lay this flat, measure from the edge of the left side all the way across to the edge of the right side. This is going to be the finished height of your ear warmer. So if you would like a thinner band, you can take out chains here and work less stitches. And for a thicker band, you can add chains and work more stitches. From the number of chains that I've provided, you would subtract or add in multiples of 2. We want that beginning chain to be an even number so that we get an odd number of stitches. You're going to continue alternating those 2 rows, a row of the textured pattern and a row of the single crochet, until you get the length that you want for your ear warmer, and you're going to end on an odd row, which is a row of single crochet. I'll go ahead and put up a chart now that shows how many rows you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working. Once you have all your rows complete, you're going to want to take time to measure, lay it down flat, measure from the bottom edge all the way up to the top edge. You're going to want this length to be about 2 to 2.5 inches smaller than your head circumference. If your measurement does not fall into that range, then the finished ear warmer may not fit correctly. So if you need to, you can work more repeats here to add length, or you can take out a couple rows if it's measuring too long. Just make sure that you finish on a single crochet row. Now that I have all my rows complete, I'm going to go ahead and fasten off here with a longer than normal tail so that I can use it to sew these together. I'm going to go to this last loop here, pull it all the way up to break it, and then I'll grab my tapestry needle. I'm going to thread this end into my tapestry needle. I'm going to do my whip stitching from the right side. You could do it from the wrong side too, gives you a slightly different appearance here. But I'm going to go ahead and do it from the right side so that my panels lay the flattest together. The front side, or the textured side at the top, I've just folded in both panels so it's in that tube shape already, bringing the 2 ends together that I'm going to be seaming. I'm going to start by coming from the back underneath up through that very first stitch. So which one is the first stitch? It can be a little bit tough to see here. But you're going to look for the stitch where the first treble crochet is worked into, and you know that's going to be the second stitch. So the one right before it is the first stitch from the back underneath both loops of that V shape, and then pull it through. Now I'm going to go from the top down through that last stitch that my tail end is coming out of, from the front here to the back, inserting underneath both loops of that last stitch, and then pull through. Then I'm going to come up into the same stitch here on row 1 from the back to the front. And now I'm going to cross diagonally over to the left so that I can bring my needle down through that second stitch, inserting from the front to the back, picking up both loops of that stitch on my needle all the way down and pull through. Now I'm going to come up from the back side in the second stitch on row 1 where that treble crochet is coming out of. From the back to the front, picking up both loops of the V shape as well, and pull through. Then I'll go back into that second stitch. This time I'm pulling my stitch up, whereas before I pulled my stitch over to the left. From the top down, now I'll come up from the back side of that second stitch where the treble crochet is in row 1 and bring this stitch diagonally over to the left from the front to the back into that next stitch, picking up both loops of the V shape on my needle when I push it through. That's the stitch where I work over diagonally to the left. Now I'm going to bring my needle from the back to the front in the next stitch of row 1 and then come directly above me through that stitch there from the front to the back. So I always like to work 2 stitches into each stitch. One goes directly above me and then one goes diagonally over to the left. So I've worked 1 stitch here upward. Now I'm going to come through row 1 here and work diagonally over to the left. That's the second stitch that goes with row 1. Then I'll roll this treble crochet back, come from the back side into that next stitch of row 1, go up first, back into that same stitch of row 1, and then go diagonally over to the left. Through the next stitch of row 1, go up first, back into that same stitch of row 1, diagonally over to the left. And that's how I'm going to continue my whip stitch all the way across here to the end. I've worked the first part in this last stitch, and now I'll go back into that top stitch. And you see that where my panels meet here, it's a little bit rounded on the edge. I'm going to correct that when I weave in this initial tail end, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go ahead and flip to the back side, and I'm going to weave in this end along the bulkiness of the seam that I just created here. When I enter and exit, I'm not going to pick up the whole entire stitch on my needle. Instead, I'm going to insert my needle into the center of it to break it in half, and that's going to help capture my yarn better. I'm inserting into a nearby stitch here, breaking it in half, and then I'm going to run up through several stitches vertically, breaking the last stitch in half when I exit. Hold on to the fabric in between my fingers, and then pull the needle through. Give it a tug. Use my fingers to manipulate the fabric if I need to, if the fabric has bunched up. We want it to lay naturally. Then I'll rotate my fabric, inserting into a nearby stitch here, breaking it in half, running back through several of those same stitches I just worked into, breaking my last stitch in half when I exit. Hold on to the fabric in between my fingers, pull the needle through, give it a tug, manipulate the fabric if I need to. And I like to do 3 passes, that's my magic number. If you feel comfortable after 2, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work a 4th one, you can do that too. Into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, up through several of those same stitches, breaking the last stitch in half when I exit. Hold on to the fabric here, pull through, give it a tug, manipulate the fabric, and then I'll fasten off. I'll go ahead and thread that initial tail end I'm going to come back to the right side facing, and I'm going to create a V shape here on the end, very similar to how you see here at the end of other rows. I'm going to bring my needle from the back to the front through the side edge of row 1 here on the right side. So when I come up, it's actually going to be through the middle of the chains here, right in the center of that top edge, and pull through, and then down through the corresponding stitch here on the left side, which is not where the treble crochets are, but before that, right underneath. That's the row of single crochets, and pull through. Now with the first pass we created this leg here on the top, and the second pass we created a leg on the bottom, which sort of creates this V shape here. Give it a tug and then manipulate it so that it measures in length the same as everything else. And that'll fill in that gap right there. Now I'll flip to the back, weave this in vertically into the bulkiness here. Same exact process. And now our ear warmer is seamed up. Flip it to the other side. I'll have this as the front of my ear warmer, and I'll keep the seam at the back, and it's ready to wear out. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to smash that like button so that you let YouTube know that you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel while you're there. Pop down into the description box below for the link to this ear warmer pattern, as well as other ear warmer tutorials from my mystery ear warmer crochet along. And I'll catch you guys next time.